Broadcasting from the Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado, Solutions Review is on location at CommVault GO 2019. Brought to you by Commvault.
It's Doug Atkinson here in the CommVault GO Expo Village, and this is where everything's happening. There are customers, partners, and executives, and we snagged one of the executives, Don Foster, Vice President of Storage Solutions.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for the invite and the chance to speak.
You bet. A lot of things are happening since we last spoke, and we spoke a year ago in Nashville.
Yep.
Not the least of which is your wardrobe. You're much more casual today.
It's all part of, I guess, the brand would be one of the core and very cool things that have changed from a CommVault perspective. Along with some of the brand changes, like you see the logo has changed now. It's no longer the black with red. There's raspberry, as we call it, as the main color. And with that is also like trying to be a little bit more call it personal with our customers, right? Realizing that it's not just about feeds and speeds, that's important, but knowing that, hey, there's a personal reason why we're creating these solutions for our customers, and they have needs, right? And we want to solve those needs for them. Well,
and I think it's one of the stories that we hear over and over at CommVault is that you listen to the customers, and you're talking to the customers quite a bit, and really the solution has evolved based upon that feedback.
Indeed.
And now you've got quite a lot of changes with regard to acquisitions, a new launch of Metallic.
Yeah, and that was all really spurred on. So Sanjay Mirchandani, our CEO, he came on board in February. And with that, and actually it was kind of a perfect timing if you think about it, because as we were working through some of the brand changes we're doing at the company, he also wanted to bring in a little bit of a more loose and fun culture, which was great, which is why we don't always wear the suit coats as much,
I didn't get that memo.
Yeah. But beyond that, right, then he started to look at this awesome technology and platform that CommVault has, the wealth of customers that we have, all the great things that we do. It's like, we need to definitely keep pushing this thing forward. And the way he saw the acceleration, as you can see, we acquired Hedvig. That happened back in September and officially closed here just early this month. We just launched our first all-in SaaS solution called CommVault Metallic. And we did that internally, really what was over like I think it was a 4 or 5 month time frame, which that team just really leveraged the CommVault technology, put their nose to the grindstone, and really kicked out, if you haven't seen it yet, a really fantastic, simple to use SaaS solution.
I saw the demo this morning.
Yeah.
I'm really eager to dive in on that, not just Metallic, but Hedvig as well, because it really is, it's about making this kind of next level solution available in a much more flexible and easier to acquire way.
Yeah, and still giving the customer choice for how it is they want to consume or solve their specific needs and problems. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a message that our audience certainly wants to hear, is how do we, because, you guys, to your credit, are in the leader category in Gartner, you're in the leader category in the Forrester Wave.
Right.
And companies want to know, how do I get the best of the best? And that's really a story that you're starting to tell in both of those announcements.
And Sanjay talked about on his keynote today about this whole idea of kind of the data brain. And jokingly, he's kind of saying, I'm not sure if this is going to catch, but it's just kind of his own internal way he's been talking about it. Maybe it does catch on now. But if you think about what it symbolizes, it's really where we're trying to take what our solutions can do for customers. And that's that we realize that as hybrid IT has become a reality, as multi-cloud and containers, and the need to have the automation for the DevOps group constantly agile and working, well, you got to stop doing all these different siloed approaches to solving some of the data needs that you have. And that goes beyond just backup, right? It goes to how you're actually delivering some of the storage management needs. So when you look at the acquisition of Hedvig, you look at what CommVault has together, that's kind of how he views sort of the right and left side of the brain and how we're helping to kind of meet these next level challenges. And the right side is where he talks about data management and where we have the indexing of where all the information lives. And if you think about it, that's really core and important, right? If you don't know where something lives, then what value is the infrastructure and the data that you've stored there, right?
Well, and you can get into real trouble.
Absolutely you can. And then when you know that, and you know where the data lives, and you can start to simplify operations by giving customers access to the outcomes that machine learning and artificial intelligence can provide. All right, we put that in the product about 2.5 years ago. We continue to evolve how it helps to simplify the overall experience. Tie that together with some automated policies, give it the security and the self-service that everyone demands today. And then ultimately, we talk about flexibility, right? This idea of ubiquitous control. If you decide that you want to choose CommVault Metallic for one use case, maybe you're going to have Metallic, maybe you're going to have Hedvig running for another scenario, maybe you have a service provider giving you a specific offering that runs CommVault, and you have CommVault on premises. Wouldn't it be great to be able to link all those together through one ubiquitous control that understands how they all operate and still be able to identify what your SLAs look like? So that's kind of the vision and the idea, that much of which we can provide today on that right-hand side that we're going to be bringing forward. Then you add in the ideas of what Hedvig brings, right? All the API controls that we saw the demo from Avinash on stage, or everything that you saw on the web GUIs, that's all API driven. You can basically do that infrastructure as code, bang, you're done, right? So you can program whatever you want to simplify how you're delivering IT operations. So you have that level of provisioning, that level of automation, that level of elastic scale, because of the way they built that solution is meant that the storage infrastructure was standardized on x86 servers. Not a frame, not a controller, not a specific fabric. They built it on x86 servers and then allowed it to scale truly elastically, both down or up in size, right, as far as depth, and then also incredibly wide. And that's because Avinash came from a DNA of working at Amazon, Dynamo, working at Facebook, right? And so he understands the need for that distributed platform, and also maybe the main way that you can solve that data deluge issue that's coming our way.
Well, and it's a multi-cloud world, isn't it,
That's
now?
Right.
And CommVault recognizing that and making such dramatic in investments, I think is a lesson for everybody.
For sure.
If you're not recognizing what's happening, you're already behind the curve.
That's right, and we're not creating any technology now without ensuring that there's an API behind it that allows for any platform, any XML, any other solution to make a call. Because once you start doing that, then it's not about, the CommVault solution is locking you in. The CommVault solution is helping you to work with other partners, other ecosystems, to make sure that you're meeting the end goals and requirements that whatever the business is throwing your way, right? Whether it's multi-cloud, making that more streamlined, whether it's starting to drive more towards containers, or just taking some of the traditional applications that might still be living in the data center and bring them to a new modern platform.
So you've done a lot of acquiring, a lot of planning, a lot of strategy, a lot of announcements. How are you looking at 2020 now that you've kind of gotten everything out?
Yeah.
What's the plan in terms of going after the market? Is it more of a mid-market story? Is it an enterprise story? Is it both?
So I think that's the beauty of some of the solutions that we've built, right? The Metallic solution, as they announced on the main stage, right? They're really going after some of that mid-market where they need that ease of simplicity and use that they can just quickly have a workload protected, whether it be something like Office 365 or a couple of virtual machines in a remote site or in the data center. That's up to a customer to choose. And that's great for that marketplace. I think where the Hedvig and CommVault, CommVault Complete Backup Recovery and our other solutions in our portfolio really have a great fit. And this is something I've heard a number of times now, is that customers understand how to solve the capex problem. All right, we can go find cheaper hardware, cheaper this, cheaper that, and it will continue to go down on its total cost level. But what no one's really solved really, really well is the operational efficiency issue, right? So if you can become more efficient in how you run operations, or you have solutions that help you do that, that's a challenge that's really worthwhile to solve. And you start looking at the Hedvig solution, the way that storage is so simplified, and the way it can scale, the way it reduces the fragmentation, provides data sovereignty, right? Gives you all that sort of cloud arbitrage. That's a really solid and simple way that providing that storage infrastructure. And of course, CommVault, some of our best customers are the very large, because how we simplify the complex, make what used to be really complex routines, things that are just a click of a button or a command line that gets called through a script or a workflow.
Well, I noticed as well in terms of dipping a toe in some of these new technologies, that Metallic is offering a 45-day trial.
Yeah, absolutely they are.
That makes it pretty easy to get involved and see what it can do. I'm curious, we're asking everybody who swings by about advice for somebody who's looking at next generation solutions, really trying to take, what they're doing to another level. What would you offer for advice as they're entering that consideration phase in terms of thinking about a leader like CommVault, or just in general?
Sure, I guess my first piece of advice would be, don't be afraid to try something new and really kind of get on the front end of sort of that hype cycle of new technology. Because you can learn a lot about, as you kind of go through the growing pains of some new technology, you can learn a lot about what the real impact could be back to the business, right? Because you never know what the next curveball is going to be thrown at you that you're going to try to solve for. So as long as you're not afraid to kind of dig in, right, learn to code a little bit, learn to understand what these new technologies are, that will really make you ready, so that as they all start to mature and shift, then you can actually analyze those different new technologies with a really, really sharp, magnifying glass almost to identify, does this make sense for what the business is asking me to do? And if it does, okay, I've kind of been down that path before, I'm a little bit more prepped on maybe what the next steps might be. So the more you can get in and try in a way that's not going to negatively impact the business, right? Have some good sandbox areas, the more prepped you can be for what's coming down the line. That's really how you stay up to date with where the market's heading and the way new technologies can shape and change IT. Excellent.
Don, thanks very much for that advice. We would certainly encourage you to check out everything that CommVault's doing because it's really remarkable what's happened over the last 12 months. Thanks for swinging by. Best of luck in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hope to see you there.
You bet.
All right, thanks.